Looks like Patrick Williams may find himself in a different jersey potentially next season. Let's talk about the team that has interest in him and ultimately what this could mean for the Chicago Bulls right now. Listen, if you're new to the channel, it's your boy PK from the Windy City Breeze. This is Chicago Bulls Breeze, giving you the things that we don't talk about on the main show for the Chicago Bulls. Let's just get into it. If you've been watching me, you know I have never really been a huge fan of the pick for Patrick Williams when we made it. I didn't think it made sense then. Ultimately, it hasn't worked out for a variety of reasons. And to me, it was just never going to work out because the position he played was something that we pretty much had sewn up by two or three other people. Again, I think the entire debacle that's happened with the Chicago Bulls is that we brought in players who filled a role that should have been replaced by two others and ultimately just didn't really work out. I mean, the acquisition of DeMar DeRozan and him revitalizing his career impacts Patrick Williams because he played the three, and Patrick Williams is better at the three than he is the four, in my personal opinion. And it also impacted Zach LaVine because he's a wing player who needs the ball to be effective, and that's what you kind of wanted Zach LaVine to do. Ultimately, they both are impacted because we see what happened with Billy Donovan's ineptitude to handle that situation, and Patrick Williams just never came into fruition for a variety of reasons. But overall, this may be one of the things where we finally admit it didn't work. We picked him too high. He wasn't the right player. He was too passive. He had some other things. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't be a good player. He isn't a good player. I mean, he's averaged about 10 points a game, which, again, in the NBA, is an accomplishment. Let's not make any jokes about it. Like, for real, he plays in the NBA. He is an NBA player. He's in the top 1% of ball players in the world. It is what it is, right? So it is an accomplishment in itself. But when you compare him to his peers being picked fourth overall, it's a lot to be desired. It's a lot to be desired. And you have to be real about that. When you're picked fourth overall, you're expected to have impact. You're expected to be a lot more than just a bench player. I don't even know really what we would call him because we never really saw it come together. And that's ultimately why we find him on the trading block. And rightfully so. I think the team that can use him, OKC, that interest there, will do more for him than it would do for us. Now, here's why I say that. OKC seems to be really, really good at developing young talent. If you look at what they have, how they've built that, this is a master class of how you draft, a master class of how you develop, and how you get all those young players to play together. And with them potentially moving on from Giddey, from them potentially making some other moves with some of the pieces there, I can see why Patrick Williams will fit that mold and what they need, especially if he can stay on the floor from a defensive aspect. If you really look at some of the things that OKC was missing, they really lacked in defense. Realistically. And Patrick Williams is on one of the best defensive teams in the league. So, naturally, that will be an added benefit. Again, if he can stay on the floor. Now, I am never going to sit here and denigrate a player to the point where I think he can't revitalize his career and things of that nature. But, again, Patrick Williams in the system that we wanted to use him, how we wanted to use him, didn't really work out. But on OKC, knowing that he's not going to be a main scorer again, knowing that Chet Holmgren is going to be there as well, he may still have the opportunity to kind of be this guy who can pick his spots and show up and show out. And it may work for him. It may give him enough insulation where he can develop his game and be amongst his peers and not have that pressure. And it could also be a situation where he absolutely blossoms because we saw moments, especially in the playoffs, where OKC really needed a consistent guy to be able to get them a bucket. And Patrick Williams has shown signs that he could potentially be that guy if given a shot. So, again, the way that situation looks, I think is more of it's an ideal move for Patrick Williams. To be an ideal move for the Bulls because the one thing the Bulls really would need and could probably give AK another, swing at this is draft picks. And guess what? OKC still has a lot of draft picks. Now, we know that this is all tongue in cheek. The Thunder have the 12th pick overall in this upcoming draft on June 26th. The Bulls have the 11th pick. Maybe this is something that you can actually make a move for and get both picks. Maybe not. I'm not really quite sure how that will work out or what the offer would really be. But what I do know is that that Patrick Williams comes in at a number that is palatable for the Oklahoma City Thunder to kind of take on and would actually make sense, especially if you consider all the other moves that they're going to make. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Ultimately, I want to hear two things. One, how do you feel about this particular move, this rumor, what you ultimately think about Patrick Williams' tenure here, period. Again, there's nothing set in stone, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And I believe that there's enough fire here for us to actually consider this a done deal or a real possibility. And I would love to see us make some different moves and just move on from this debacle altogether. So, again, I want to hear your thoughts. Whether it's love, whether it's hate, put it in the chat. I'll be in there with you. Till next time. Peace.